My father, him and his generation, whenever I try to speak about this, he doesn't want to hear about it. He believes it's the demons. Yeah, it believes that it's totally evil. The church in Romania is not just an institution. It goes beyond that into the political, into the everyday life of the people. Having this heavy religious filter, if I can say it, it means that everything is very much polarized. Everything is about good or bad, is about punishment and reward, right? Hell and heaven.
Welcome to another talk where we tackle the anomalous phenomena through European perspective. Today I have as a guest somebody who originally comes from Romania. Her name is Giorgiana Rosca. And Giorgiana is a senior IT manager with experience leading complex teams. However, she is also a spiritual guide and Akashic Records channeler. With this practice, she is helping high achieving professionals to reconnect with their soul's truth, purpose, and cosmic origins. Georgiana had direct experiences of extraterrestrial contact and multidimensional communication. She has insights into the expansive realm of the unseen and how that bridges with the everyday activities of a regular, working, and living human. So that's Georgiana, and I'm here to welcome her. Hello, Georgiana, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you.
Perfect. And firstly, I would like to ask you how your story started in terms of UFOs. What made you interested in these things? I mean, even in the unseen world, and what kept you interested?
Mm. I was thinking about this as well, and the reality I've discovered is that I've always believed in life out there. Ever since I was a child, I would ask these weird questions of my parents. I would look in the night sky, imagining stories. I loved to watch videos about this, movies, science fiction. So this was just a matter of, for me, it was just about finding more information. It wasn't about belief. Um, what was extraordinary, for example, for me, which blew my mind, was when I found out that might have been advanced civilizations on Earth. I was reading a book about how the Sphinx is older than the pyramids, and maybe it was not built by the aliens, but built by a civilization just as advanced as us, if not more, that was so much older than we didn't even know about it. That blew my mind, right? Now, what kept me interested? From 2020, that's when the spiritual journey started. I went into dark night of the soul. I didn't know what was going on with me. So, through different plant medicine sessions, in one of them, I had a vision that I was on a different planet. And I was looking into the eyes of this other being. And I was, who are you? Who the hell are you? I was like, what is happening? Um, So that was one thing. Then I've discovered information about star seeds. And then I looked, what is a star seed? I had an Akashic reading, and I asked, am I a star seed? What is this? Yeah. Then from various channels, I started to get information that people know about different alien races, and that's when I started to, well, continue to get my information from, just to discover more about this. Debbie Solaris is galactic historian, and so this my interest is going up until starting to do my own contact meditation with the group, having my own experiences. So right now it's just part of reality. It's just a matter of, yeah, when are we going to have this included into the civilization that we live in, in the
Hmm.
day to day, let's say.
And when you were in Romania, how did you feel about these kind of like spiritual things or even UFOs being talked about in the, in the public field? Was it something that was like accepted or totally not accepted or partially? And even if you like, you can compare it to Czech Republic because you live in Czech Republic since some years. So that could be interesting, maybe.
He came to join us.
Yeah, I'm happy he did.
Um, Very complex question. So about Romania, you have to understand one thing that is about the church in Romania is not just an institution, right? It goes beyond that into the political, into the everyday life of the people. So people are raised very much into this belief, whether they were openly, church going people or not, those beliefs are all around. So having this heavy religious filter, if I can say it, it means that everything is very much polarized. Everything is about good or bad, is about punishment and reward, right? Hell and heaven. So something like this is seen depending on the different generations, I can say. Yeah. The, my father, he's incapable, and my father is 80. So him and his generation, whenever I try to speak about this, he doesn't want to hear about it. He believes is the demons. Yeah, it believes that is totally evil.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Then you have a generation maybe like me that starts to open up, but still very fearful. Yeah, still that, am I connecting with the positive beings, or am I connecting with the negative ones? Yeah, and they do a lot of protection, and they have to do a lot of rituals about that.
Hmm.
And then you have others that look at it as conspiracy, either the devil conspiracy, the Antichrist,
Yeah.
or the government is conspiring somehow against, or I don't know, total world domination powers, something like this. So, and the media is not helping. Is looking for sensation, and uses strong words. So something like this is being either ridiculed, not believed, put on the on the devil, with equals the devil. And then there are some parts which are open, and actually I did find quite a few authors that are speaking about this, and there is an association that is investigating UFO phenomena. Now, how does this compare with Czech Republic? Very much.
Hmm.
Because in Czech Republic, you do not have this church, the religion, being such a great factor here, right? You do not have this filter. So it's more of, I as an individual, what do I wish to believe? Yeah. Maybe there are some conspiracy believers, so you have that as well.
Yeah, we do definitely.
Yeah, but it's not so much about protection and the devil or not, So I do appreciate this open-mindedness here, although the conspiracy theory does exist, and I've noticed it's quite prominent. But the community doing even contact meditation is absolutely beautiful, and quite big actually. So I think you know a lot. Yeah.
From what you say, it feels to me that, that the people who are not open to the UFO topic, that in Romania, they're like, they have like the very negative emotion towards the UFOs or, something unknown. And in here in Czech Republic, when I talk to some people who are not interested, who are skeptics, I think they just don't care, or they just no, they don't have emotion, they just don't want to tackle it.
Mm.
So maybe that could be the difference from how you describe it. Do you think so?
Yes. Yes, 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 absolutely. You are so right. Yeah.
Okay. And now it would be maybe a good time to start to a bit look into Romania and UFOs, how is there, and some cases if you can. But firstly, you mentioned that there's some UFO, how to say, UFO people who are looking to it regularly or some groups. Is it true, or is there some current people who are investigating it? I mean, now me and you, we are kind of more speaking like citizens of countries, but I think that's also fair. But are there some investigators as well?
Yes. I found there is an organization, it's called ASFAN. You can find them asfan.ro. So this is an organization, is non-governmental. It's purely based on membership, um,
Hmm.
and I believe also invitation, and members are contributing to. So they're self-funded. I hope I'm not saying anything wrong here, but definitely independent.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fine to say just generally. Okay.
Great. So yes, they exist. They have some regular meetings. Actually, a friend of mine that is in Bucharest was attending some of them, so she was kind enough to share some of that information with me that she found
Hmm.
from them. Yeah.
Okay. And so are there some, some famous UFO stories or some folklore about this or not really? In Czech Republic here, I also mentioned in the last episode that we have one very famous case that even like skeptics are open to, that there was a UFO tic-tac over south part of Czech Republic, and it was monitored by military and was seen by civilians and so on and so on. So, even skeptics cannot say anything about this. Is
Mhm.
there something similar like that in Romania, or how is it?
Actually, the event you're talking about, I saw it on Netflix. So I was so proud. That was one of the parts that made me want to search for someone in Prague who
Wow.
is connected to this, is doing events. So yeah, absolutely. Well, for a country so, like I said, so religious and afraid nowadays, but we actually do have some cases. So I made some notes
Yeah.
to be sure that I'm giving the right information and the dates.
Hmm.
But so there is one famous engraving. It is from it's representing the fight with the Turks from 1595,
Hmm.
so 16th century. And this one shows it's an engraving from Târgoviște, and it's an engraving that shows a comet over a battlefield. However, so here is where I had to search a little bit who else is talking about these events, and to research that what authors can I look for who have written books about this and investigated. So one of these authors is Dan Farkas, who is a PhD. He's in mathematics, computers, and astronomy, right? And according to him, this comet appeared for 1.5 hours above this battlefield. It was not a comet. So again, he's into astronomy, so he looked it up. It was not something that existed or was seen in Europe at that time. So it's not something recorded, and definitely not something that remains for 1 hour and a half only. And some people were also saying about 2 hours or something in between, but this is, an engraving that exists out there. Another thing is a mural fresco. So this is in a church in Sigishwara that has a disc-shaped object. That one, if you look at it, it really looks like a sombrero hat. So our known, saucer shape. And apparently this is again from 16th, 17th century, is still there and is still represented, and it was even represented on some coins. So back then, Romanians seemed to be a little bit more open to this. And then in 1968, again, now we're coming a bit closer to our time. There were 94 sightings. Yeah, so 94 people who saw the shape, again, saucer shape, above this Hoia Baciu forest. Maybe you've heard about it or read about it. It's this mysterious forest that is in Romania where apparently people have disappeared. And some are saying that you can only go there with invitation or but there were 94 people who have seen the shape, and there is a photo of it as well. So this is
Mm.
quite well documented and recognized. And then in 1986,
Mhm.
a meteorologist observed on the radar a huge UFO over Sofia and Varna. So this is Bulgaria. But so he looked and he compared this data. I mean, what he was seeing, he compared the dimensions to the ships that he may have seen on the water, for example. And he made some approximate calculation about its size. And it was 1.5 kilometers in size. It was
Okay.
it was pretty big. All right. And he saw it somewhere, I think it was 30 kilometers in the air, and it was descending and ascending and descending. So doing this yo-yo. So first it was one day over Sofia, and then over Varna. And so this was 1986. And then in 1988, he saw something similar again, but this time, as soon as he noticed it, the radar disconnected. It didn't work anymore. Yeah. So maybe they, I'm just thinking, maybe they knew that they were being watched this time, and they didn't want to.
Mm. Mm.
And in 1939, in broad daylight, there were five boys of around 8 or 9 years who saw beings. So now we're going into the third kind of contact. And they saw beings coming out of egg-shaped UFO. Again, something that is verifiable and documented. And in 1978, um, there was a humanoid encountered in the mountains near a lake. And first they saw the red light, and then they saw this tall, dark figure of a humanoid that just stood there and was not doing anything.
Mm.
And they were talking to it, and it was not responding. And then it started to do some strange movements, um, and and they got scared, and they went to hit it. And when they went to hit it, the object, I don't know if it was oh, I don't remember the word in English that you dig holes with.
Shovel, huh?
Shovel, thank you. I
Hmm.
think it was a shovel, and when they tried to hit it with a shovel, the shovel jumped right back and hit this person that
Hmm.
knocked him unconscious. And at that point, the being disappeared.
Hmm. This actually reminds me of one Czech case, which you mentioned the Netflix documentary about some Czech things, and I guess it was from Petr Wachler, who is a Czech director. And I know him a bit, and he recently, like let's say 2, 3 years ago, found a really interesting story that some guy. I mean, this is something of a Czech culture which not all countries have. We have something like huntsman, but it's not huntsman. It's also a guy who is taking care of forest. So something like this, it's very special. I'll add some picture to this so you can understand.
Hmm.
This guy one day went out to the forest and he saw some light or something, and then suddenly he saw also some humanoid, some being. And he was, I cannot even almost believe it, but the story is like this. The guy took his rifle, for hunting deers and tried to aim it on that entity. And when he tried to pull the trigger, the weapon kind of, a bit exploded and it got destroyed. So it a bit reminded me of that story you mentioned with that shovel that it went back or whatever. It is a
Yeah.
bit funny story, but he got this story from locals in Böhmerwald or Šumava in Czech. It's called. I mean, mountains on the southwest part of Czech Republic.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that it sounds like they're having some defense mechanism, which
Mm, mm.
sense. I mean, wouldn't you want to be defended if you landed amongst people like us who shoot first, and ask questions
Mhm.
later?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, no, and it's quite a peaceful approach if you
Hmm.
think about it, right?
Yeah.
They didn't attack back. They just disabled or reflected whatever action.
Yeah. They disarmed them and it's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And from these stories, have you heard any of these stories when you were, I don't know, a teenager or child, or some UFO story did you hear as um, can you tell us which one it was, or which one is the most famous in the consciousness of Romanian people?
Well, actually, yes, there were magazines, and there still are, that spoke about UFO and unexplained phenomena.
Hmm.
And the one that I heard about, but I didn't say it just here, is one that happened in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a sighting um, at Mihail Kogolnicianu Military Airport, where the trained pilots have observed a V-shaped formation, and they reported on that. And these were the pilots from Air Force Regiment 57. So again, something that is documented, and it was written in those magazines, the UFO and Unexplained
Hmm.
magazines. Um, so yeah, at least this. I also know about others from worldwide, but from Romania, it's just this that I've heard before about.
Yeah. Okay. And just as a side note, few weeks ago, I was listening to an interview with Diana Pasulka, who is a professor of religion or something like that, and she's quite interested in UFOs, and she even like investigated with Gary Nolan and other people who are in the UFO field. And she had interview on New York Times, so it's kind of big deal that team of UFOs get to the New York Times in a serious matter. Doesn't happen every day. And she was telling many stories, but she also very much emphasized that the government is really, or the governments or whatever, military corporations and so on, trying to make the UFO topic very confused. That people don't know what to think about it. There are many disinformations and so on. And she said that to find the truth or to find out what the UFOs and UAPs are, we should actually go to the people who are kind of experiencers and have some contact and that they have their own experience. And since you also have some experiences, I mean, I should also tell that you and me, we both were on two CE5s together, one this year, one last year. So I was wondering on this thought that, the truth will probably go from the grassroots up, that from the people, maybe even from the experiencers. So what would you say? Who are the UFOs or UAPs or the entities that are here? If you could maybe share your insight on that. I mean, it's a very complex question, but you can focus on some part you are connected to.
Yeah, you're right. It is a big question because I think that we are in contact or being contacted by numerous different species. Um, and who is visiting us? I think that we could also speak about extra dimensionals, right? So there is that part. We're also talking about angels. We know about angels from throughout history, and again, from religious backgrounds, and they're supposed to be also extra dimensionals, if you wish. Yeah, I'm throwing one in, even angels
Yeah,
out of
right.
this world, ultimately. Um, but yes, from my experience in contact meditation, so I was doing this frequently, every week for a year and a half or even more, until I decided that I want to have the C5, so in person. Um, and in these sessions, we would have a collective meditation, and we would unite our consciousness, and we would act as one and invite different entities so to connect with us. Yeah. And so I even had connection with hybrid children, which, let me say, I've never been interested in that topic, or it was just something, oh, now I know there might be hyper children somewhere. Yeah. But that was the first time when I was almost taken by hand and taken into this group of hybrid children consciousness that were asking me about Romanian children's songs to teach them, for example. Yeah. And in that session, it wasn't just me having this hybrid children experience, but it was also the others. So that came, even if I'm thinking, well, it could be my imagination and so on, sometimes. Yeah. But in this case, there was absolutely no reason. I'm not thinking about them. But other than that, I had experience with praying mantis. They're very loving. They are almost like a nurse, really there to support, to help, to just bring in this love energy. It was really like a fluffy healing session, fluffy love. I also think we have my connection is strong with the Arcturians, and that is also where a lot of my experiences have been with seeing them in the sky when I asked. Initially, they said in an Akashic session. Initially, they said, "Oh, why do you need to see us? We are connecting every night." Anyways, apparently, I work with them. Um, then I said, well, because it's exciting. I want to see you with these eyes. And so within 2 days, I saw them, and then I was so excited and so happy that the tears started to go down, on my cheeks. And then in Sedona, the following year, so just a few months after, I saw the same thing. It wasn't a ship; it was two dots. So if you imagine, each of my fingers is a dot, and they were just moving together like this. Yeah, like
Mm,
they were
mm,
joined somehow.
mm,
And so, and then they disappeared. And in Sedona, in broad daylight, I was at an ascension retreat, and I saw it. And at that point, again, I was super excited. Oh my gosh, they're here! They want to make themselves visible. And at that point, I saw others pointing at the sky, and we were all, "Did you see that? Did you?" So everybody saw it. That was there in the courtyard. So that was a nice confirmation. So that's Arcturians who apparently don't use ships, but they're using energy, and they're light beings, really. Then, of course, you have Pleiadians, you have Lyrans, Tolwites, Greys.
mm, mm,
Greys
mm.
have changed their way of working. They used to be the ones um, kidnapping people or taking them on their ships throughout history. I don't know if you noticed, but there are no such stories anymore.
Mm, yeah.
Um, right? They've really changed the way that some say that they have advanced and they now have feelings. So,
Well, I would say that there are probably more types of grays, and you know, we kind of lump them all together as grays, but there are more different species. And also, there are strong rumors that there exist also some robots who are looking like grays, and they might be maybe some military, project or something. I believe, for instance, some people say that those abductions, that many of them are military based, but I am not sure about that. I guess maybe part of them might be. Yeah, but that's the huge complexity of that UFO or UAP topic, that there's so many like different sides and different stories and some disinformations and some complexities, like as I said, there are multiple nations who we call as a grace. So lots of things.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I can also mention that I already talked about that interview with Diana Pasulka. She mentioned one story that in the medieval times there was some nuns and some of their plays, and one of the nun was every evening or every night seeing some light, some orb, and she said it to the main lady, and she didn't believe it. And but once she came to stay with her overnight, and both of them saw it. And
Mm,
at that time, they interpreted it as a soul who got stuck in purgatory. And so it's kind of interesting that, we see some light or we see something, and we kind of give it a meaning according to what we know and our beliefs. And it's still same now. I guess not many people would believe it's some soul in purgatory. Would just say it's some energy or some portal. I mean, who knows what it was? Yeah. And the end of the story was that they tried to pray and to put the soul, to the place, and it actually worked. So
mm.
yeah.
Oh, well, that can definitely be the case. Because also in Romania, because of this religious influence, um, in the other cases, yeah, I don't have time here to tell you about all of them, maybe, but there are people seeing Mother Mary.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
they
mm,
have angel apparitions. So a lot of these sightings have this religious connotation. Yeah,
mm,
so I don't know. They see maybe the Holy Ghost as a dove. Yeah, or Christ in some way, or someone had a story about being taken into the ship, and he was not seeing anything. He was just hearing voices around him. And then at the end of it all, he felt really good and safe because he saw God as the Heavenly Father. However, I guess he was imagining it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. The filter, the religious filter is there. Now, it could have been also a soul that was somehow stuck, but don't know.
Yeah.
From But as you said, yeah, it's all about our own personal experience.
Mm.
And my strongest experience was in Bucegi Mountains at the
Mhm.
Sphinx.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my just point was that, even now when somebody sees some weird being, one guy will say it was an angel, and the other guy will tell it's a ET. And because maybe one guy is super interested in UFOs and the other guy is more has a religious background. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
it's hard to say. But yeah, you can definitely tell us a bit about your trip to Bucegi Mountains. I hope I'm pronouncing it well because I found it very interesting. I was thinking to join, but in the end, I unfortunately didn't. Maybe next year. So we're curious, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stay tuned. I do plan to make another one next year. Um, but yeah, absolutely. So Bucegi Mountains is not only beautiful, but it was also the place when I first saw some, let's say, rock formations. I put them in quotes because I'm not so sure they're natural, right? This is again my own belief and what I saw. But in these rock formations, there is one called Babele, which is about 4, 5 meters tall. And when you are standing behind it, you can see almost, to me, it looks like a giant's table. And you see also the kind of like a cement that is being used to make the top part of the table stick to the feet of the table.
Mhm,
So it's completely different texture and how it looks like, and also with the weather, erosion, different patterns of erosion. So really, really, to me, it's quite evident that that is not natural formation and that is easily a giant's table,
mhm,
which then, I'm making a bit of a parallel now with the story of Radu Sinmar about that room that is supposed to be, and it was discovered in the middle of the mountain through the satellite imaging, and then they went to explore it. And when they finally managed to get in, because even how they got in was quite a story, and when they got in, there were these giant tables, like four giants, and these tables were about 4 meters tall. So you see, that's why I'm making quickly this connection, but not necessarily going in that direction. So coming back to Bucegi Mountain, so we are on the plateau on the top, around 2,000 plus meters, and then you have the Sphinx, the face of it, which again people say that is not natural, that is a natural formation that is done by the wind. Um, but if you look around it, there's a lot of melted rock or almost like cement that was being poured. So either it was melted rock, indeed, you know, or it was cement that somehow was poured in a rush, or I don't know, but it looks very, very different. There's a reason why there are all these legends. All right, so when we got there, I felt the need to take my shoes off and sit down for a meditation. And I immediately felt the vortex. So, the vortex, how I feel it, it was like this inside of me, like a tornado.
mhm,
And it was really even I was hearing like a gong in my head. Yeah. I want to say that also around the elements, here we are at a touristic location in in a day that was beautifully set, really clear sky and quite warm, but there was almost no one around.
Hmm.
I could hear the bird that it was passing by, how the wings were flapping. So it was quite a special moment. And so this was a moment when I felt the vortex and I felt how um, my heart and my intentions to bring light and to bring to help um, bring in this new earth, to bring in this open heart energy. And the Sphinx was helping me to amplify that through the mountains in the whole entire country. So that was the beginning. Yeah. Here comes the evening where we did a contact meditation. And at this time, we could not do it so high up because, well, there's no first of all, you're not allowed to sleep there in a tent, and second, there's no way to an accommodation. So we were at a hotel at the base of the mountain, and just me and my friend, we were both sharing a bed. We were lying there and doing this contact meditation, and again I felt that vortex. Yeah. And now, being in this contact meditation, you have experienced it with the gong, making it known to the beings that were ready to connect with them. So with the mind's eye, I saw myself in this vortex above the Sphinx. And I really felt as if I'm being whirled, like you are in one of those machines in an amusement park that just takes you round and round. So that was real. And then I started to shake really powerfully in the bed. And I was thinking, I don't know why I'm shaking. Why am I so cold? Yeah. And I hope I'm not disturbing my friend. That's all I could think about. It turns out that she was also shaking on her side. And she was also thinking the same thing about she hopes she doesn't disturb me. Yeah. Okay. So in this vortex, I'm flying around, I'm getting dizzy, and then suddenly I see a pyramid. And that was like a golden pyramid that is in the mountains somehow. It's almost like it's an energetic pyramid, I think. I don't even know if it's a real pyramid there, but what I saw is gold or golden light. And that was one thing. Then I saw different structures, so almost like wires, not wires, the thicker than wire, those metal bars that are used in construction
Ah,
to put
yeah, yeah.
walls. Okay, so
Mhm.
those were kind of intertwined like this, and they were sticking out, and almost like there was some damage. And then I saw huge holes, like not holes, but like holes of record. Yeah. And I have to say that this was before I ever read about Radu Sinamar and his stories. Okay. I have left the country a long time ago, and I have been reading a lot about universal, global events, not so interested about Romania, which is where I'm turning now. So
Hmm.
even before knowing that, I was just going with the mind right open. So that was what I saw. And then the last thing was I was above the plateau. I was seeing the Sphinx from above, and I was in a ship that had transparent walls. And it was, um, I don't know. I think I really have this information in me to say that it's almost like an energy ship that exists still in these mountains, and somehow above it is still there. In an energy form is still
Yeah,
I don't
understand. Mm.
not sure if I explained it very well, but yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was
mean, well, one of my friends, or Alex and Suwana, these are guys who are actually, I mean, one of the important people of Czech exopolitics and so on, the UFO teams, and they are big fans of the ancient places. And just thing that they shared once was that, the people who, or beings or whoever who built the stuff like pyramids and so on, that they made not just the intention to build it here in the physical place, but also in the, higher density. So it can be something similar that, it still exists, even though it's not there physically, but in some other realm it is there, maybe. To
yeah,
talk about that.
yeah. I'm so glad that somebody else also said this, and it's not just me saying it. Thank you for that. But yeah, absolutely, it exists, is there, and it has a purpose. I'm sure of it. The mountain, the story of it, the fact that there are still tunnels that are guarded by armed soldiers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why I want next year to try to go around that area to get, as close as I can if it's possible. I don't know. I don't want to put anyone in danger.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, there's definitely something there because if you look at this Radu Sinamar story, it sounds like a lot of people are saying this is a fairy tale, it's a science fiction, and has all the elements of a science fiction. But there are some elements which, by now, in 2025, we know that exist, right? So the fact that there are um, deep underground tunnels and holes were discovered under the pyramids, right? The fact that there are organizations out there that want to stop these discoveries and not make them public. It's also something that is known. Um, there were even bones of giants discovered. So
Hmm,
even that, and we have it in the Bible as well. Yeah. Um, so to have a whole of records that are supposed to be these 12 tables there, right? And each table contains a hologram of different information and showing some of them are even how genetics can combine of different species. I mean, it sounds science fiction, but it's getting closer to become reality, All these things are coming true. And then also, we know that they connect with Iraq and um, with the Giza Plateau,
hmm,
I believe, right? And Tibetan Plateau. So in Iraq, when the Americans went there to invade, I don't know if you heard the stories, but they did secure some archaeological sites.
hmm,
The
hmm,
military went to find atomic bombs, right? Or to find that Saddam Hussein. And so, what does the archaeological site have to do with anything, right? And it makes you wonder, and it is true. So, apparently, when they did discover this chamber in Bucegi Mountains, that site activated as well in Iraq.
hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So, they were connected. And I don't know. I'm still going to research about it. And again, going back to having I wish to have my own experiences. Um, but it is indeed quite mysterious.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. I mean, these things are very new for me, and I'm looking forward to when I will research the pictures and so on. Well, editing this video. And I guess it would be also interesting and also important for the viewers to a bit understand about what you do as a Akashic channeler and how you offer your service. And I can say to that that um, we were together on C5 last month, and it was super interesting because I mean I never experienced anything like that. To just describe it, that you kind of were leading a meditation in English, which is a bit interesting because most of the people there, it was Czech people, so not all of them understood English, but they had interesting experiences anyway. So, I mean, I helped them to understand the process in Czech a bit, but they still were just listening and just sensing the energies and what's happening inside them, and so on. And I would say that all of them had some experience, even though they didn't really speak well English. And and then it was for me super interesting because then you kind of opened that channeling part, and I felt like I'm listening to Bashar or somebody like that. Because I mean, it's not that because it's just you hear just some. It's like you're listening to non-human entity that is talking to the group.
Well, it's funny you say that because I heard it before from because when I do private sessions of galactic Akashic reading or regular Akashic, depending on what the information comes in. So I'm not just staying on Earth alone. Yeah, I'm open to read about and to connect with the other nations as well, star nations. But whenever I did the collective Akashic channeling session, it's some of the feedback I got was that they felt different entities speaking and how the energy was shifting and how people are feeling that. And I know that I'm connecting to benevolent beings. I go very high up with my consciousness, sometimes a little bit too high. People don't necessarily understand as I get closer to the angelic realm, actually. But yeah, you are not the first to have that experience to tell me that. Uh, and just a little bit of bracket because you reminded me, Bashar actually said and confirmed when they were in Prague, and Bashar was in Prague,
Hmm.
there was a question about Romania and the Bucegi Mountains, and he confirmed that this room exists,
Hmm.
that Hall of Records. So
Hmm.
just closing the bracket. And going back to the channeling, um, it, it was quite surprising for me as well. I'm not going to lie, because it's every time is different. How what I do is I connect with the collective Akashic field. Yeah, so this is like the internet that just like now, we have internet and we're connecting just because we have the device that is able to pick up the Wi-Fi signal and transform it into this image, for example, right? So what I and other channelers do, it just makes sense that we are tuned and picking up the messages, you know, that come from there. Now, of course, it's important to have the intention to give this clarity, to give the truth, and to it is our duty to heal ourselves as much as possible so that we do not have those programs. Yeah, do not have the religious programming. And yes, we did have four galactic federations in our CE5. And when I said about them, other people have confirmed that they felt it and saw it. And even before I said it, we had what? Zeta Reticuli. It was like a four corner type of square.
Yeah, yeah.
Zeta Reticuli. We had Lyran warriors. So they really look like lion humanoids. And then we had an energy of Andromeda. And was it Tall Whites?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it was super interesting because the tall whites was on the right from you, I believe, and one guy said that he saw them in his mind before you even said it. So I was like, what? Cool. And then I'm not sure if you, because we didn't translate everything to you, but most of it we did. But the place where you said that there are the Zeta ETs, the the people there, they have a strong connection to them. So it was also another confirmation, you know. So it was very interesting. But I would also like to point out that some people say like are a bit afraid of channeling that you can summon some like not right-minded things. But I would like to say that it was very nicely made because firstly the place was kind of cleansed and you guided us through some rooting to the ground and cleansing our hearts and so on. So, and I mean, these kind of things are important even for C5. I mean, I was new to this was my first experience with channeling that I saw it and that I was present to it. But the same thing is important for C5 as well, that we have to get to the best place. I mean, for many reasons, and even for the ETs to represent them something nice of humanity, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And I think it was a beautiful group. Um, And yeah, when I do the private sessions, the stories that I can tell you about the experiences, yeah, with connecting with people that are walking avatars. When I say avatar, I mean, avatar, the example of a Buddha being, ascended masters
Hmm.
walking amongst us, and they are not quite your regular people because they do make an impact and you do know that they're there, yeah. But yeah, I've connected with the oversoul of someone, and I didn't even know how to explain it. I was just explaining what I see and what I feel. So that could happen. The guides that are around, anyone that could and wants to come through, will do that. And of course, it's important to for the people, to have it clear in their mind what their intention is and what sort of questions they want to ask. So for us on CE5 was quite clear. We wanted to make contact. Um, but then the questions that people were asking were also important for them and
Hmm.
for their well-being. So that was also answered. um, and I do have a collective Akashic channeling session coming up now in August 20th.
And that's something that people can join online or
No, it's in person
it's in okay, in Prague.
in Prague.
Yeah. So you can come for a visit. Be nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought to make it after the portals, right now, Lionsgate portal, quite powerful. Syrian energies are coming through, and it's really great for manifestation and for yeah, getting all the results from all the good work that you've been doing the past year, apparently.
And I was also wondering, so you said that during the channeling, you kind of connect to different things, that it's not usually just one being. And for instance, during RC5, when you open to the channeling part, was it just kind of one source or multiple sources and they were changing?
When I'm channeling, I go in and out from being aware.
Hmm.
What I do remember that there were at least two and entities that I was channeling, because at that moment I realized the change in the energy.
Hmm.
So joiners, so watchers, participants have said that they did hear and felt the energy, the distinct energy between Yeah, different entities that are coming. Now, when I say entities, the first thing that comes to mind right now, and maybe it's the readers believing this, oh my gosh, she's possessed or something. That's not the case. Absolutely not. It's about, like I said, we are being very close to this angelic realm. What is the Akashic Records? What are they? Sorry, what are the Akashic Records? They are like a moving field. Yeah, it is changing all the time. It's like a Rubik's cube, um, but imagine it in a what is this, octagon?
Mhm.
So like a diamond shape, yeah? And it's
Mm.
a Rubik's cube that moves and has different levels and different rooms, all right? And it's an ever changing. It's something that we also change ourselves by connecting to it. So that's why not everybody has access to it, because we can make modifications, and we don't want to enter there with, let's say, ill intent. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so there are Akashic angels that protect this field. This is very important field. So they are all positive in that manner. Some are calling this Akashic field as the eighth dimension, as the dimension of information. For example, Matthias de Stefano describes the eighth dimension as this. Um, And when connecting with these different, let's say, rooms, yeah, from this Rubik cube, from the different cubes, they each have their own energy. So just the field itself contains multiple types of energy that we can read from, right? Now, consider that we in a group of people, each one comes with their own higher self, yeah, with their own guides, and they all have a different voice as well. And whoever is ready to come through, whatever messages need to be told, they're coming through. And yeah, I mean, next time, why not ask about who is talking? I did have clients that did ask who is talking, and then they got a name,
Mm.
and that name was so powerful. The Andromedan beautiful being that is the most recent who gave her name.
Mm.
Yeah, so we can
Yeah.
ask next time, or you can ask.
I mean, these concepts are sometimes super hard to get into your mind, like eighth dimension, what the hell is that, you know? But, because for instance, it's hard for me to see that, but I can offer to some of the viewers maybe a different perspective because there's interesting case in France and in Spain of a contact from the planet Umo. And actually, it is not very known. And it is some spaceship came there, I believe in the 50s, 60s, I believe, yeah. And they started to share different letters to scientists, and they were very like, the rational minded people, but very right-minded, but super, super, thinking in the rational. And they explained many different things, and they kind of explained that the universe, I mean, that there are all, that there are many universes, and that there's also a universe in which is the original universe where the souls are, and that universe has no time, for instance, and so every universe has a different laws, so, and everything is still kind of connected. So, some people might see it from the optics of the dimensions, and maybe some other people can view it like this because I don't know, these concepts are super hard sometimes together. But yeah, even it's nice to hear this kind of version as well.
No, I totally understand. One of the things I used to believe is that this dimensions is a place to go to.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. Yeah,
Mm.
they are more like they instantly exist, and we are instantly part of this. So
Mm.
the higher self is in one dimension. We are here in the third dimension. Yeah. Um, a beautiful explanation for dimensions I heard, I can quickly tell you,
Mm.
is if you look at it from chakras perspective. So the root chakra is the most basic, where it's just existence. And that is where, let's say, the rock has a root chakra. That is one dimension, the first, yeah? Where it just, the mountains, the environment that we live in, is that first dimension, for example. And then you go up to the chakra and to the sacral, where you already have now creativity and you have multiplication, yeah, procreation. And now you're going into the realm of animals and insects and so on. Very simple, simple beings. And then if you go into the third dimension, which is that of an ego, who has an ego? We do. Right. And now, as we're going into the fourth and fifth dimension, the fourth dimension is the heart. So we are now going up towards the heart, into the compassion, into this universal love and acceptance. Yeah. So you can think of it this way. And apparently, our dogs, just by staying next to us, they start to have an ego, they start to have a personality.
Mm.
So they are also advancing. And maybe you see also on TV, there are videos about animals with personalities, even wild ones. Uh, so, yeah, I just thought to share another perspective on dimensions.
Yeah. Okay, so it seems every episode I'm making is longer and longer. But as the last thing, I would just like to say that if people are interested in these kind of things and what we shared, they can get to know more on your Instagram, which is called @niavice, and I will also put it to the description and so on. And if you would like to share something as kind of the closing, I know that sometimes you kind of share, the some important insight from the Akashic field or records. If you would like to end with that, we can, or whatever you feel to share.
How did I know this is going to happen? I did get a message. It's a channel message, and it is about being aware of breathing. No matter what happens, to stop, don't react, breathe. Because when we breathe in the divine. This air that is around us is not just air, but is divinity itself. And the same is happening with everything that goes around in this life, everything that is coming our way. We are asked to accept it just like we accept and trust that the air we're breathing is going to be good for us, that everything that comes from the outside, all the events, all the chaos, maybe, and the changes, we are asked to accept that the same way, with the same trust that they are for our good.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank for all the viewers watching, and we'll be happy for any comments or subscription and so on as you know it. And thank you so much, Georgiana, for sharing both the physical cases of Romania and also a very unique, or at least for me, unique perspective on these kind of spiritual aspect of Akashic stuff and channeling. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Honza. It's been a real pleasure. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And bye bye to to all the viewers.
Bye.